Welcome to the Grow Your Money podcast, where we're on a mission to change how we talk about money. Our fireside chats are the heart of our show, bringing the energy and excitement of in-person events straight to your ears. We aim to connect you with inspiring voices and stories that matter, sharing relatable experiences and insights that will transform your financial life. But this isn't your typical money show. We look at the emotional, psychological, and cultural factors that shape our relationship with money. So hit subscribe and join us for another episode of the Grow Your Money podcast.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Grow Your Money Challenge podcast. On today's episode, we'll be looking at all things mortgages. We're joined by an expert from the Royal Bank of Scotland, and we're going to be demystifying the whole point of mortgages, getting on the property ladder and looking at it through a lens of an expert, someone that does mortgages for their day-to-day. So a big shout out and thank you to Royal Bank of Scotland, who are sponsors of our Grow Your Money Challenge. And Lee will be joining us today from the Royal Bank of Scotland. We thank you for understanding the need of community banking and just demystifying this concept. So today we're talking about all things mortgages. Can I get a mortgage? Should I? And, from an expert's point of view. So Lee, thank you so much for joining us today. This is going to be really cool because, in the Grow Your Money Challenge, we have a lot of people whose financial goal is to get on the property ladder. But there's so many things to demystify, when you're trying to get into the world of owning a home. There's legacy things like my parents have never owned a home, or I'm new to the UK. Where do I even start? Or the age-old question, is it cheaper for me to own my home or get on the property ladder? So today I thought it would be important to hear from a banking point of view all about mortgages, what you do in that field. But before we do that, I'll let you introduce yourself. And we'll go into a bit of an icebreaker so everyone knows that you're just like us, you're human, and just happen to know a bit more about mortgages. So over to you, Lee.
So thanks for having me. My name's Lee Fitzpatrick, personal mortgage advisor with the Royal Bank of Scotland, team east of Scotland. Thanks, I'd like to say thanks for having me. It's nice to be able to join you.
Oh, thank you so much. Been looking forward to this. So we're going to ask you some silly questions. They're seemingly silly, but you'll get the point, gist of it. All around money. The first thing is, could you please describe your relationship with money using an emoji?
Using an emoji, I would probably go with the one that's got to be faced with the glasses. So I would probably say being organised. I like to be organised with my finances. So I can come in obviously different forms, but for me, looking at my mobile app, that's something that I check every day.
Wow. So are you the cool glasses or just the glasses, the geeky glasses?
I would say the geeky glasses.
Glasses, that's amazing. No wonder you're a mortgage advisor. That makes sense. So give your teenage self one money tip.
One money tip. I would probably say start saving for the now as opposed to the future, just so that you can be prepared for any sort of unexpected circumstances, changes in plans along the way. So start saving for the now as opposed to the future. The now and the future will be then covered. Yes,
I hear you. But the temptation of having money saved away when there's a holiday calling can be all too much. The third thing I'm going to ask you is create a personal finance themed TikTok and tell us what your hashtag would be.
Oh, difficult one. I would probably say with this one, money matters. Just by actually taking the interest. So what happens now can impact on the future. So I probably say money matters. The start to the finish.
That is so true because money does matter. Everything is affected by money. Everything, whether you have it or not, you're affected by money one way or the other. So absolutely money matters. So role models, books, films, recommendations. What are you into?
So book, I would probably say my favourite book would definitely have to be The Secret. So I'm a massive fan of The Law of Attraction. So that's definitely my number one go-to book and film as well. So that'll cover it for that one.
Nice. I've watched that actually.
Good. It's really interesting, isn't it?
Yes, it's a good film. Wow. And your role models? Any role models?
Role models, I'd probably say my parents. They definitely as to my parents, just having really good sort of morals, keeping the making sure that you're on the right track, advice, being able to turn to them at any time, the good and the bad as well. So definitely my parents, I'll say, would definitely be my role model.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's who our first role models should be. So it's awesome when, you're able to do that.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for that. So let's dive into the world of mortgages. I love property. Anyone that knows me knows that I'm just a property geek. I've been known to go viewing houses on a Christmas morning. That's like just how deeply I love mortgages, like houses per se, owning property. It's absolutely my favorite, asset class. But certainly in the UK, it's a whole other world. You don't know where to start. You don't buy it outright. Interestingly, the laws are different from Scotland to England. So just give us a window into the life of a mortgage advisor, like with what you do. What are the top things? What are the top basics that anyone needs to know about mortgages?
I would say taking an interest in, like I said, start taking an interest in your finances, finding out that what your goals, what your plans is, what is it you're actually looking for, what is it you're looking to achieve, making sure that's obviously within your budget as well, so that something that it's going to provide you with still like a comfortable monthly payment. You can still afford to live every month as well. And just making sure that as well that you're meeting the criteria for the mortgage as well. So again, looking into your credit score and making sure that that's in the right place. Sometimes it's the case, obviously, that might not be in the right place, but first steps I'd probably say is having a look to see that you're in the right position to be able to actually apply for a mortgage in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So from your point of view as mortgage advisors or people who are, looking at these mortgages, what is the stuff you're looking out for? So you've mentioned credit score and that. Do you have like a checklist of stuff that you look at and then disqualify someone or not? Or when you reject someone for getting a mortgage, is it normally that it's going to take them, say, 6 months to come back on? What do you find? How do you go about deciding making those decisions?
Yeah, so there's a sort of like a whole mixed bag that's taken into consideration for a mortgage. So you're looking at obviously your proof of income, making sure your finances is conducted in the right manner as well. Mm-hmm. Having obviously proof of that income, your banking history as well. Just making sure your conduct's in the right place as well. So we're looking for everything really. Obviously being 18 and over, resident in the UK. So just, there's obviously like a few sort of boxes that do need to be ticked along the way. But like I say, having a look at them and making sure that you can sort of tick them as you go, that's the steps to be able to do it. So it can seem daunting, but it is just a process, if you like, and a process that is completely simple.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. I want to pick up on something you've mentioned because there's a big thing where some people are like, well, I'm on a visa. I have a visa. Do I even have a right to have a mortgage in the UK? And what do you have to say to that?
So looking at visas is something that we totally can look to have a mortgage with. It's just that we need to see sight of that visa for certain individuals and also making sure it meets criteria. So we look to have at least the minimum 6 months remaining on that visa as well. So it's not something that's going to impact a customer in the slightest as long as they're meeting the criteria for that visa.
Oh, wow. That's very interesting to know. So as long as I have a valid or basically a legal right to be here on the visa, I can get a mortgage.
Yep.
So typically, that's amazing to know. And what about brokers? Because I'm always confused. People get a lot. There's like brokers, and then there's the bank, and then there's you, and then there's the people that are selling the house. There's just so many players. So how do brokers or like mortgage brokers come into play versus you guys as a bank?
So mortgage brokers typically will have access to different lenders' products and services. As a bank, obviously we just deal with our own, but the benefit of coming to your own bank is that we're not going to charge you for the advice. So for the advice process, it is free. Whereas when you go to a broker will charge you for that advice. And I always think with your own bank as well, you've got that personal touch service as well, that somebody's there to support you through the journey as well. Okay. And also it's paperless as well. So it's convenient as well for the customer. It can be done day, night as well.
Wow. So I don't need a broker per se. I can come directly to my bank, and brokers really are just an alternative to. So a broker would maybe have access to the banking products, but with the bank, I'm coming directly to the person that will give me the mortgage.
That's right.
Wow. Interesting. That's very interesting to know. And right now, the market seems to be crazy in terms of there's been talk of, the base rate going up and there's the side effects of COVID. What are you finding in the market right now? Is it a good time to buy? I know you can't give advice and say, go out and buy a house right now, but what are the pointers for someone to decide when it's a good enough season, to get onto the property ladder or get a mortgage?
Yeah, I think that's down to an individual, their own circumstances, taking into consideration their own priorities as well as to what's important for them when they're looking to purchase a property. In regards, you touched on COVID there, so during COVID there was certain restrictions in place, and that was to protect the bank as well as protecting the customer, which is most important. But these restrictions now have actually been lifted, so it is business as usual now going forward. So when there was restrictions in place, these are now gone, so it is back to just business as usual, and the market is carrying on as normal.
Awesome. So are you seeing lots of people coming back to get mortgages, as before COVID?
Yeah, so we've seen the business return as normal, the same way like remortgages, customers looking for better deals maybe with their existing lender. So definitely you've seen the market just return to normal as well now.
That's awesome. Good to
It was still busy during COVID, I have to say, because as much as there was restrictions in place, sometimes you're able to meet these restrictions to still support the customers along the way. So it was still just as busy during COVID as out of COVID. So
wow.
So kept busy regardless.
You're listening to the Grow Your Money podcast. We'll be right back after giving our partners a well-deserved shout-out. Looking for a trusted banking partner? Look no further than the Royal Bank of Scotland. With their rich heritage and their comprehensive financial services, they're here to support your personal and business banking needs. Experience seamless transactions, innovative digital solutions, and expert guidance tailored to your goals. Join millions who trust RBS with a brighter financial future. Visit their branches or explore their online banking at www.rbs.co.uk.
And then just a glimpse into yourself and your own journey. What is your property journey? What's your property journey been, if you don't mind sharing it?
Yeah, my property journey. So I completed a remortgage last year, and that's something that was probably different from when I first purchased my property. So for me, the great thing was that it was paperless. It was something that could be done in the time that I was able to do that as well. So it fit in with my lifestyle, it fit in with my plans. It was paperless. So there was no any like forms getting sent past here or there. It was all done digital. And it was like, we've got a thing called Word Digidocs, where it's like a one-stop shop. So all your information, all your documents are all retained in the same place. So it's great just to be able to access that.
Nice. And you mentioned a remortgage. Talk to us about that. What is a remortgage?
Yeah, so a remortgage is basically when you maybe have a mortgage already in place, and it's say with a different lender, and then bringing that mortgage across to a different lender. So you're remortgaging your property to a different lender, so transferring that borrowing over.
It's not you're not taking out a new property. It's just a property you had has come to an end with the banker you had, and you're now looking for a new deal with someone new.
Yeah, it can be like that, yeah, as well. Or sometimes, for instance, when if a customer owns a property and they maybe own that property outright, but they're looking to release funds for whatever goals they're looking to achieve, that's also classed as a remortgage. So if they own that property outright, they might be looking to remortgage that property to release funds for their plans.
Because I actually I think about that a lot, because people never think about their home as an asset. So for example, if you're looking to do work, change over a kitchen and that, does that come into play sometimes?
Yeah, that comes into place with the remortgage as well. So some customers will just want to remortgage maybe over on the same like-to-like basis, but some customers will also have plans along the way as well, maybe say for home improvements. So when they remortgage over, they're maybe looking for a bit additional borrowing along the way. So they'll remortgage over from their existing lender, but also take some additional borrowing along the way.
Wow, thank you so much. Very informative, very helpful. Lastly, last but not least, could you give us your top tips for someone that's looking to get on the property ladder in the UK?
Yes, certainly. So I would say just have a look at the credit reference agencies. There's lots of helpful hints and tips on there to make sure that you are meeting the criteria for a mortgage and also for your credit scoring as well, as that's something that's extremely important, not just for mortgages, but just for in everyday general finances as well. So just because something's maybe happened in the past, that's not to say that's going to impact you in the future. Time is definitely the best medicine for anything. So you can have a look at what you need to do to improve it, take these steps and still be looking in your journey ahead.
I love what you've said, because that's so true. it's easy to look at your credit score and think, my goodness, I've messed it up.
Yeah.
I can't recover from this, but time does genuinely change.
And there's loads of helpful handy tips along the way there with these credit reference agencies. There's ones that you didn't have to pay for as well, so they're available when you have a look in Google. You're able to obtain that, your Equifax, your Experian. There's lots to choose from, but they're really good. They've got really great, useful information along the way.
And I think something else you've said that's encouraging is look at it, because sometimes you avoid it. You're like, oh gosh, I've messed up. I have 3 credit cards that are outstanding. I'll never be able to get onto the property journey. Whereas if you go on and find out, right, I missed payments for 3 years, I can start again right now and maybe get a mortgage in a few years, So I think that's a very key thing. Time.
Totally the best medicine, yep.
Absolutely. Wow. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
It's been very informative, and we will certainly have you again.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you for listening to the Grow Your Money podcast. If you're looking to take actionable steps toward achieving your financial goals, visit moneymatics.com. That is money, MATIX.com, and join our free Grow Your Money Challenge. Let's unite in the movement to inspire people to talk about money. Thank you for being a part of our community. We'll see you in the next episode.